All right, so let's talk about the basic components of SEO, the three pillars of SEO. Now, there are a lot of different systems for SEO. This is just our take on it. Number one, technical optimization. You have a website, it exists. How well does it work for search engines? Well, that can be answered in a lot of different ways. You could answer it just with page speed, or you could answer it with content and visuals and how good you think they look. But when we're answering for technical SEO, we mean a handful of things that are very important, that have a major impact and are sort of the first cut on whether or not your website's going to be in the top third or the bottom third or middle third of search engine results. So first off, let's go through some bullet points. These are some basics. Number one, ensuring SSL. Secure Socket Layer is sort of a certificate that you can have for your website. But what we're really talking about here, in addition to having a certificate, is forcing all traffic through that certificate. And so this is something that your web developer or your SEO folks can check. And it's a good way to make sure that all of the perception of the URLs and all the elements on the page are secure. This is important for browsers so that they're not throwing an error or a flag or cautioning the user to be careful, because this may not be a secure website. And so it not being a secure website, as an alert, could be as simple as an image being served without going through the certificate. So you can right click on an image, open it in a new tab. And if the URL is http:// instead of HTTPS, that would tell you that that image is being served to the user without being secure. And so for search engines, they really want all the different supporting files and scripts and everything to serve the web page being forced over through that secure connection. So use SSL, have a certificate, and make sure that all traffic is forced through secure URLs, and make sure all the elements on the page being served are going through HTTPS instead of HTTP. And that's a good thing to do. Next up, ensuring your site is mobile friendly. There was a period of time a long time ago, people had two different websites, one for desktop and one for mobile. And then very clever people using CSS said, hang on, this is a bad idea. We can make one website that works on every size screen. And this was a big innovation, and there had not been a lot of innovations this big in a while for HTML. But this was a big innovation when it happened. And so since then, Google has capitalized on that and said, wow, we really want fast web pages. In fact, we want to make sure that everybody's website is especially fast for phone users, because so much of the internet is happening on phones right now. And so making sure that your mobile website experience is really good and fast is really key. And using the Google page speed tools to check this is recommended. And you want to look for a really fast paint or fast display of the first page of information for mobile users. That's a really important factor for your overall website performance. And interestingly, this impacts not just your SEO for mobile users, but your SEO for desktop users as well. Google will use how your website works for mobile users as a judgment of your entire website. Next up, this is pretty general category, improving site performance. Get familiar with your page speed and understand what's hampering it, and make fixes to your website to improve the page speed. Faster pages are always going to do better than similar pages that serve slower in search engines. Next up, eliminating duplicate content. And this one can be tricky. You really need to use a tool or something to identify duplicate content so that you're seeing it the way that search engines see it. If you go through your top nav and your homepage and say, I don't see any duplicate content, maybe you don't. But if there are two different ways to get to the same page on your website and they have slightly different URLs, those present to search engines as two different pages. And so little tricks like that, you need to make sure that you're thinking about it, not like just a person going in or what would I do or what am I trying to do, and not running into the same thing twice, but think in terms of how does a search index see it. And duplicate content errors can be identified with any of the tools that we use. And if you have questions on that, check in with us. We're happy to help. Next up, an XML sitemap. Sitemaps are a way to push content to search engines where they can go and look and see when a page was updated, and making sure that that capability of a sitemap is working. It's kind of a dated technology, and there are some new technologies coming that we think might replace these sitemaps, but for now they're still in use, and we recommend having those sitemaps working. Often you'll have more than one sitemap. You'll have a sitemap for pages and then maybe another sitemap for videos. And so having these in place, making sure they're working, it's a recommended best practice, and we still utilize this. Next up is register and have your site set up and integrated with Google Search Console and Bing Webmaster Tools. Google Webmaster Tools was renamed Google Search Console, and there's some connectivity that happens there that can let you troubleshoot index problems. And you can go and see kind of what the status is of a particular page and make sure it's indexed. And similar for Bing, you can make sure things are indexed there properly, and that's a good thing to do. Next, let's go to the next section, on-page optimization. Yeah, this comes down to making sure that your web pages are all using all the basics of optimization for every page. You want to make sure that you're using good, real, human-readable titles, keywords, meta descriptions, and first paragraph of content and page headers. But you also want to make sure that you're using your most important keywords in those spots. Plus, you can think about your pages each as a number of chances, shots on goal, if you want to use a sports metaphor in hockey. And it's not that you have to take every shot at every opportunity, but you do want to make sure that every shot you do take is a good one. A bad meta description is worse than no meta description. A bad image file name is worse than just a string of numbers as an image file name. But all these factors that impact SEO, they're really important for telling search engines about that page. And so optimizing all that content on every page, it takes a lot of time, but it's worth doing. It's going to make those pages work better in search engines. Next up is off-page optimization, making sure that your off-site properties, these could be other websites that you have, but more likely they're pages that introduce your brand on different platforms, YouTube, even pages like AngelList, if you're raising private equity, social media platforms. Having your profile on these pages complete and clear is very important. And it's good to make sure that it's thorough. And I would say the number one factor is make sure it has a good, complete URL for your company. This is going to help search engines tie together all of these offsite properties and associate them with you. Another one that's a big offsite factor right now that's really important is your Google My Business page or your Google profile page. Making sure that it's kept current and that's actively being updated on a regular basis sends a freshness signal for that page because your Google Maps listing is essentially a page on the internet about you. And so you want to make sure that it stays current and active and up to date. And also using some of the features of some of these offsite properties is worth doing. Typically, there's so many maps and apps out there that are sort of orphaned, that are not managed. And those are really bad for your brand because it's just a missed opportunity. So claiming those, maybe a few a month, and optimizing them, it's a good thing that you can do. And if you're a marketing support person doing this, there are lots of ways to learn how to optimize these listings. But like your Yelp profile, if you're a business owner or a marketing executive, you probably don't even know sort of how you look right now in Yelp. And you might say, well, Yelp isn't really important to our business. Well, maybe it isn't, but search indexes are using it as a tool to evaluate the quality and freshness of your domain. So some of these things that you may not think are critical path could be indirect sandbags to your SEO results and your growth of your organic traffic that you can go easily clean up once and have not working against you. It could be bad office hours information. It could be a wrong phone number that's outdated. It could be not having your URL included on the page. These are all things that you can fix and control that don't cost any money to do. It's just time and effort. All right, so final word on 3 pillars. Getting just 1 or 2 of these right is going to have a big positive impact. Getting all 3 is going to be even better. And as always, if you need some help with this stuff, you want somebody just to, gosh, get it out of my hands, do it for me, give us a call. We'll be happy to help.